Hi, this is Eric Flarsko with the AdBuzz, and I am with
Tania Ensor, Shandwick.
And you are the
Senior Vice President, Reputation Management and Recovery.
Let us know, what we need to know about your company. Sure. And what you do.
Fabulous. Shandwick is a company with a very long history in Canada, and we are multinational. We're in almost every country in the world, operating in all the major cities and regions, providing a full scope of services from consumer, product, brand, strategy, corporate, reputation management, sustainability, public affairs, government relations, and on and on and on.
What's the thing that you guys do the most of? What's your one specialty, or is there an area where you do it better than everybody else?
I think that one thing that we do better than anybody else is that we actually focus on providing solutions to our clients. That no matter what the services that they're buying, whether it's product awareness or issues management or sustainability communications, it's all about helping companies achieve their business objectives.
So if Shandwick were a person, who would he or she be, and why?
Fair enough. I don't know that I could give you an exact demographic, but I know that this person, Shandwick, could be found in a major city, anywhere in the world, from Beijing to London to New York to Melbourne, striding down the street, absolutely in control of its destination.
So, you have 5 offices in Canada. Mm-hmm. How's the Montreal office going? I know you just opened it a little bit late last year.
We just launched Montreal, and it's been such a fantastic reception. In fact, we did a launch of our new Fireball product there, our social crisis simulator, and we ended up having to rebook it to another location because we ran out of room. The response has certainly been amazing.
PR is really known for crisis management. So tell us a little bit more about what Fireball is and what it offers your clients and people looking to figure out what's going to happen and how to react to problems.
I think if you go back into the olden days of crisis management, it was all about crisis preparedness, and you had a binder and you had a protocol of approaching your problems. But today it's really changed, and what's changed are the channels through which crises emerge. And the largest one in the past couple of years has definitely been social media, online, digital, what have you. Shandwick, about a year ago, recognized that there was this missing link in the crisis area and created this product called Fireball. And it's a social crisis simulator that allows clients to test drive their crisis strategy in an virtual online world.
So for all the students here, a lot of them are interested in advertising communications fields. When you're looking to hire people, bring them on, what do you look for? Do you look for education? Do you look for experience? How do you, with a mass of people, figure out who you want to bring on board?
That's a really good question, and one that's really been at the top of our minds lately. I think foremost what we're looking for is incredibly smart and aggressive people. We're looking for people who are looking to make a difference. School is certainly a portion of it. We're looking for somebody with advanced education outside of high school, whether that be a full college diploma or a university degree or a mix of both. We're also looking for people who are interested in working in different channels. And by that I mean no longer can you be that specialty person and say, I'm going to work just in one area or another. Particularly today, because we're an inline agency, and what I mean by that is we don't talk about traditional communications and non-traditional communications. It's inline. Everything, online and offline world, have converged for Shandwick and our clients.
So for all the people out there looking, not just for work, but who are interested and maybe they just don't know where to go, what is the one thing about getting different types of experience that can really help them if they're looking to just kind of make themselves unique compared to everybody else?
I think what you can do to prove your worth to any company is make sure that you get your volunteer experience and work to get experience that allows you opportunity to explore different areas. So look at sustainability, look at digital, look at event management, look at pure public relations, look at pure media relations. The more and most variety of information or opportunity that you can have, the better off you'll be, and that will put you above the rest.
Communications is all about a story, no matter if you're doing advertising,
Absolutely.
PR. What are the fundamental tenets, the building blocks of creating a great story that's going to get pulled by the media, by the audience, by all the stakeholders?
Yeah. First, it has to be believable. It has to be something that the audience can relate to. It has to have a narrative associated with it. There has to be a heroine or hero to the story. It has to be believable, credible, and it has to have some resonance to the person that you're speaking with.
When you talk about crisis, you talk about creating a story. How do you manage your relationships with actual media empires and the media that exists, and as well as the clientele, stakeholders? How do you juggle all that without having the balls fall down?
That's a really good question. They say that people who are crisis practitioners, their whole world slows down when a crisis hits, because there is a lot to keep up in the air, if you will, and that's why it's so important that when you're having an issue or you have a crisis that you're facing, that you have an incredibly strong and practiced team at your side. But making sure you have a good plan in place is a really good place to start. So have your plan, practice your plan. Make sure that it addresses all of the different channels, including online through such things as Firebell. And then make sure you're prepared, your people are prepared, knowing what the end result is, the end outcome. Having a really strong business vision, understanding what your company stands for or your client stands for, helps you because you're really focused on the roadmap to securing that company's future.
Would you say that in PR, you're focused on the earned media versus the paid media, or do you do a little bit of both?
I think we're starting to see a convergence of the two. The earned media certainly will always be important, but earned media is becoming a lot different in how we're perceiving it. So is there an adjunct in the online world? For example, when you're doing searches and then paid searches and the keywords and what have you. So there's certainly a convergence.
Can you name campaigns that you've done or PR campaigns that you've done that have taken off in a way that you didn't expect?
Yeah, really good example. Shandwick is owned by a larger company called Interpublic Group. Now we have a number of sister companies. One of them is McLaren McCann, and the other one is Draft FCB. Draft FCB a couple of years ago did a campaign that was both online and on traditional media for Workplace Safety and Insurance Board. And it was all about safety in the workplace. So anybody who's a bit of an ad freak will probably remember those ads about people having serious injuries in the workplace. There was a fellow who dropped hot oil on himself in a restaurant, a fellow working outside a home who fell off a ladder. And the whole idea was to make people aware of the idea that workplace accidents didn't need to happen. Well, the whole thing went viral. It exceeded the client's expectation. The client was incredibly happy that his Workplace Safety and Insurance Board and WSIB was congratulated for their campaign worldwide.
So I think Greg has been around for, the last 6 months or so?
Since July.
Since July, so
yeah.
8 months.
Yeah.
8-9 months. So how's he been as a leader? Where are you going that's a little bit different than maybe you thought you were?
Yeah, absolutely tremendous question. Greg has been a real breath of fresh air here. He's brought a really good perspective. I would call it a real global perspective to how we run our business here in Canada. Public relations agencies are traditionally aligned along different areas, consumer, corporate, etc. And we're instead taking a look at it a little differently now under Greg's leadership, looking at it from a brand strategy perspective, a brand engagement perspective, corporate responsibility, reputation management, etc. So we're looking at it from the client's perspective as opposed to from an organizational, PR organizational perspective.
Because he comes from I believe it is,
Greg was at Avon, he was a journalist, he was also at Edelman, and he was at Optima most recently.
Yes, that's, I believe it is Cassettes.
That's correct.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to remember. Because he comes out with a diverse experience.
That's right.
It must add a lot to you guys. As a journalist, as someone who does writing myself, I can imagine that gives a wholly different spin on the way you actually see things and how things are positioned in your head.
Absolutely. One unique benefit and one unique experience area that Greg really brings to the table is storytelling, and he's a master storyteller, as I like to call him. And he was with a client yesterday, actually, helping the CEO develop his story for a very important speech that he was about to give, and did a couple of months ago at TEDx in Vancouver. on that very topic, on storytelling, and got rave reviews.
How do you narrow down that one story when you're talking to clients about why social media is important or why maybe it's not important?
I think the question's wrong. I think the question is, what are you trying to achieve? And everything has to work from the strategy. So if you're not aligning your communications activities to your business strategy, that you're not going to win. There's no possibility of a favorable outcome, because everything we do today in business and public service is all about achieving the organization's objectives. So unless your communication strategy is aligned, it's not going to work. Once you have your strategy in place, it's easy to have the operational or the functional strategies that come out of it. And it will become clear once you know who you want to talk to, what the messages are that you need to communicate, all again which ladder up to the business objectives.
Is there a single voice for Weber Shandwick as a whole, as a global organization, and how does that filter on to the offices throughout the different countries, different cultures and societies? How is that kept in place and coherent while actually allowing something unique to develop within each country or each office?
It's funny, but it really does occur naturally. We have executives across Weber Shandwick worldwide who are experts in their field. So for example, in reputation management, we have Dr. Leslie Gaines-Ross, who's located in New York, and she is our chief reputation strategist. She's responsible for ensuring that we're all kept up to date and up to speed on the latest reputation trends. We also, through her, are able to develop methodologies and appropriate tools and services for our clients to help them achieve their business objectives. So that's just one example, and it just happens to be New York, but that expert on any other topic could be located anywhere in the world.
So where does Weber Shandwick Canada hope to be 2, 3, 4 years from now?
We're going to be at the top of our game. We're going to be serving some of the best brands in Canada. We already have an incredibly stellar client list, and we know that the future is absolutely our oyster. The clients are telling us, people coming up saying they want to work for us are telling us, and employees are telling us. So we're looking forward to it.
Is there anything you can tell us about what you guys are working on now, or about anything cool or interesting that just happened?
We've got a lot of great projects going on right now. Some are about to come to the fore, some are going to be public pretty soon. But one thing that's been very exciting for us is one of our clients is AGRA, Alliance for a Green Revolution in Africa. And one of our executives in Ottawa, a colleague of mine, Trish Alt, just returned from year-long secondment in Nairobi, helping them get the organization's communications up and going. And she was doing worldwide travel, helping them with this, raising awareness for food and food requirements in Africa.
That sounds actually really amazing.
It is amazing.
You do a lot of, you work for, a lot of NGOs and things like that, because communications planning is probably even more important there than even just a brand, because they're so public and they have to use it for their fundraising goals.
That's right.
What are the fundamental, is there anything different about working with those people than working with, say, a corporate client?
I think every type of organization has its own peculiarities and personality traits, but I think the one thing that is evident when you're working with any NGO, any charitable organization, is that it's usually a greater good that you're working towards. And that has a real meaning for the people who work on that account, for the people who contribute to its success. Not that success for a company that provides employment and jobs and taxation benefits and supports the economy isn't equally important, but I think it's nice that the work here is particularly balanced, so you have an opportunity to work to sort of suit the entire person, if you will.
So getting back to students before we end off, for all the people who are graduating right now, who are out there putting their resumes out, what advice do you have for those people? Whatever they want to do. What if they don't know what they want to do? What should they be doing to stand out or to get a job?
You know what? A million years ago, because I've been in this business for a really long time now. A million years ago, I talked to a professor of mine who was a really dear friend, and I was very frustrated and I didn't know where I wanted to go. And he said to me very clearly, "Tanya, do what you love and everything else will fall into place." I've lived by that credo and it's really worked.
So I want to say thank you on behalf of the ADVAs. So this is Eric Floresca. This is Tania of Weber Shandwick, the VP of...
Senior VP, Reputation Management Recovery.
Okay.